Throughout history, humans have been captivated by the idea of staying young, always searching for the elusive fountain of youth. But what if the secret to aging gracefully and even reversing some effects of time lies within us? What if our bodies already possess the tools needed to repair and rejuvenate at the cellular level? These tools are called autophagy and play a crucial part in helping us age backwards, rejuvenating our cells and keeping us healthy.
The term, anti-aging has been much abused in popular culture, attached to all manner of unproven products and procedures, whereas the term should really be reserved for things that can delay or reverse aging by targeting one of the established aging mechanisms, the so-called hallmarks of aging, the common denominators of the aging process, like, for example, the buildup of misfolded proteins that can be disposed of through autophagy. See, at any given time, most of our cells are producing and assembling more than 10,000 distinct proteins, each of which can become misfolded or damaged at any time and require a cleanup in aisle 3. But during times of excess nutrition, our body figures, why bother, right? We can just toss it in the corner, make another, right? Having evolved in the context of scarcity, our body expects to fall into hard times any day now and can put off spring cleaning until then. But these days, those lean times hardly ever come, so our cells just continually end up hoarding junk. That's where autophagy comes from. From the Greek words for self-eating, it's a housekeeping process by which defective cellular components are broken down and scrapped for spare parts. This doubles as both kind of salvage operation and quality control, clearing out some of the damaged debris implicated in the aging process while renewing our cells in a sort of cellular reset. As one review put it, the janitor is the undercover boss. Our ancient ancestors often went for several days without food, so autophagy was constantly being switched on. But these days, our cells no longer need to kind of clean out the corners for sustenance, and so the tainted heaps just pile higher and higher, which isn't good because autophagy is essential for lifespan extension. It's not only necessary, but sometimes sufficient for increasing longevity. Self-digestion for lifespan extension. Boosting autophagy alone can boost lifespan, at least in mice, by an average of 12%, and it also boosts health span. Unfortunately, our body's ability to take out the trash declines with age, leading to this vicious cycle. Garbage builds up, accelerating aging, which leads to more garbage buildup. No wonder the drug industry is so eager to pharmacologically modulate autophagy to combat aging, but we can do it naturally.
Limiting caloric intake for extended periods, typically 16 hours or more, can stimulate autophagy due to reduced nutrient availability. When you take a break from eating, your body shifts its focus from digestion to maintenance. This is where autophagy shines. Without a constant influx of nutrients, your cells start breaking down old and damaged components. Think of it as your cells doing a little spring cleaning. They recycle these parts into valuable nutrients and energy, helping to repair and regenerate your tissues.
So we're going to get into all the nitty-gritty of all the ways to access your body's healing system through focusing on when you eat, calorie restriction, ketogenic diets. We're going to go all into that. But at a high level, your body has its own innate healing system, which is way, way more powerful than any drug ever invented and can reverse almost every disease if we know how to activate it. And so all these approaches that are being heavily researched and are incredibly powerful do very similar things. And in a sense, it has to do with this basic framework. Our biology is adapted to scarcity, to starvation. When we were hunter-gatherers, we didn't know if we were going to be able to kill a buffalo or find a root or a berry. So we had to be really good at managing lack of food. And when we do that, it activates all these conservation, healing, repair systems so the body can actually survive without food. Now, the problem today is we are in a state of abundance. In America, we have 500 calories more a day than we did 40 years ago, and we're eating them, which is why we're so obese in America. So there's no problem with scarcity, it's abundance, and we don't have the genes to regulate abundance. We have over 200 genes that regulate starvation and help us adapt. So what happens when you activate this ancient healing system? Well, first, you radically change your hormones, your cells, and your genes. You change your gene expression and optimize expression that controls inflammation, that increases your antioxidant systems, that gets rid of belly fat, that builds muscle, that increases your brain and focus and cognitive function. Because, when you're starving, you got to go look for food. You want to be alert. It helps build your bone density. It increases your beneficial hormones. It helps growth hormone. And it also helps repair your cells. It also activates something really extraordinary, which is something called autophagy and mitophagy. What does that mean? It means your body has a system of cleaning up and recycling old parts. And when you don't do that, you end up with a lot of old parts. And so the goal of autophagy is to literally break down all the components of your cells and then clean them up and then rebuild them into new parts, which is awesome. But if you don't do that, and a lot of the ways we live today in the 21st century do not let us do that, we end up aging rapidly. So not only does it help you lose weight and build muscle, not only does it help balance your hormones, increase your antioxidant systems, increase your stem cell production, increase your brain chemistry focus, but it also can actually reverse aging. And there's a lot of data on how it actually can help in literally reversing the aging process. It also is protective against cardiovascular disease. It may be effective in cancer treatment. And we know that applying these strategies during cancer reduces the side effects, reduces the complications, and increases the efficacy and the benefits of traditional cancer chemotherapy. So we're just scratching the surface, and there's so many powerful processes that are activated by these strategies, and we're going to get into those, but that's the high level. So if there's one single thing you can do to activate almost every single healing system in your body, it's change when you eat.
There are also other ways to promote autophagy. Physical activity, especially endurance and resistance training, can induce autophagy in muscles and other tissues as a response to cellular stress. Exercise activates autophagy by creating mild stress on the body, prompting cells to repair and maintain themselves. During exercise, muscles demand more energy, depleting energy stores and triggering autophagy to recycle damaged components into usable energy. Cellular stress from exercise activates pathways like AMPK, which promotes autophagy.
Exercise induces autophagy. As one of the researchers said, I've always known exercise was good for you, but when we found out it increases autophagy, I finally got a treadmill. You have to do it enough, though. Autophagy is activated after 60 minutes of moderate intensity exercise, but only 20 minutes fails to move the needle.
So, how can you promote autophagy? You may be surprised what Dr. Michael Greger suggests.
But there is something that activates autophagy that many people find comforting: coffee. At a human equivalent dose, both regular and decaf rapidly induce autophagy within hours in mice, and coffee can extend the lifespans of some rats. But what about people? Well, in humans, we'll only have observational research, but to date, about 20 studies have followed more than 10 million people over time, and those drinking 3 cups of coffee a day, 13% lower risk of dying from all causes put together. And decaf appears to be just as protective, so it's not the caffeine. Coffee contains more than 1,000 bioactive compounds. The polyphenol chlorogenic acid is the most abundant antioxidant in coffee, so researchers started there, and indeed was found to enhance autophagy in human cells. More than 100 coffees have been tested, and the chlorogenic acid levels vary by more than 30-fold. Interestingly, the major contributor to this wide range is Starbucks, with its extremely low chlorogenic acid content, thought to be because they roast their beans so dark that they destroy it. Freeze drying is okay. Brewed has more than espresso. Paper filtered is the best because it traps the cholesterol-raising compounds in coffee, perhaps explaining why those drinking filtered coffee had even lower mortality rates than those drinking unfiltered coffee.
Spermidine-rich foods in your diet can support cellular health and promote autophagy, and potentially contribute to longevity and reduced risk of age-related diseases.
Any food components that can activate autophagy? Spermidine, the longevity elixir Spermidine. Don't be put off by the name. Spermidine and its byproduct spermine are actually found throughout the body. When it was later independently discovered in the brain and the muscles, they called it neuridine and musculamine until they found out, oh, it was all the same compound, and so naming rights defaulted to the less palatable original. Our body can make it from scratch, but we can boost levels by eating spermidine-rich foods, which is good news because spermidine levels tend to decline with age, dropping more than half by the time we reach our 50s. This decline is seen across the biological spectrum with one remarkable exception: naked mole rats, also known by their more cuddly nickname, sand puppy, considered to be a non-aging mammal without any visible signs of aging, almost no decline in physiological function over decades, no typical signs of aging like loss of muscle mass or fertility, perhaps in part because they're able to maintain their high levels of spermidine, something that you also see in human centenarians. To prove cause and effect, extra spermidine was fed to animals, and induction of autophagy by spermidine promotes longevity, increasing lifespans of mice, for example, by as much as 25%. In a database of more than 1,000 life-extending compounds, among the small subset with the fewest side effects, spermidine has the largest documented lifespan extension. Longevity can be improved even when started late in life, kind of the human equivalent of changing your diet when you're already in your 50s. Anti-aging effects were found in the heart and kidneys, rejuvenating immune function, delaying brain aging, and improving cognitive function. Yeah, but this was in animals like fruit flies and mice. I mean, who cares if spermidine cures flies? I've seen your moments. What about in people? Hundreds of men and women, their 40s through 80s, were followed for 20 years, and after looking at 146 different components of their diets, the single most predictive of longevity was spermidine. How much spermidine they were eating. Higher spermidine intake is linked to lower mortality. Those who consumed the most spermidine had a reduced risk of death from all major causes, which is what we'd expect from an anti-aging compound. Critically, the survival advantage persisted even after controlling for dietary excellence, meaning it wasn't just because they were eating healthier foods in general, but specifically spermidine-rich foods in particular. How big of an effect are we talking? Well, the reduction in mortality risk between getting more than 12 milligrams of spermidine a day compared to getting less than 9 was as if those eating more spermidine were 5.7 years younger. It's as if by eating certain foods, they were able to kind of effectively turn back the clock nearly 6 years. The findings were so extraordinary, the researchers sought to replicate their results in a whole new set of individuals and indeed arrived at the same conclusion. This led some to propose that spermidine may be an anti-aging vitamin. When we're younger, we seem to be able to make enough, but as we get older, we may need to start ensuring we're getting enough in our diet to maintain autophagy into old age. Well, if spermidine is going to be considered an anti-aging vitamin, where is that vitamin found? Beans are said to have the highest natural amounts, but I compiled a list of the top spermidine sources, and pig pancreas, beat out bean burritos for the bronze. As a certified dark green leafy snob, I was begrudgingly impressed to see lettuce score so high. The lettuce is so light, a 100-gram serving would be about 3 cups of lettuce, but even the spermidine little side salads could certainly really add up. In the book, I spent a lot of time going through the entire list, but the single most concentrated source is wheat germ, with 2.5 milligrams of spermidine in just the 7 grams in a tablespoon. It's also the cheapest source, costing as little as 2 cents per milligram. You can't get a lot of pancreas for 2 cents. Does wheat germ actually do anything? Let's randomize people to some dinner rolls and find out. A randomized double-blind pilot in which older adults were secretly slipped some spermidine in the form of wheat germ baked into dinner rolls versus placebo rolls with wheat bran instead, and those with mild dementia improved way beyond all available anti-dementia drug treatments so far. Admittedly, that's not saying much, but what's the harm of sprinkling a little wheat germ on your food? You know, the latest Alzheimer's drugs don't appear to work at all. All you get for your $56,000 is a dramatically increased risk of swelling or bleeding into your brain.
NMN is a precursor to NAD+, a vital coenzyme that fuels various cellular processes, including the activation of sirtuins, proteins that regulate autophagy. By supplementing with NMN, we can boost NAD+ levels, thereby enhancing autophagy and supporting overall cellular health, energy metabolism, and potentially extending our health span.
Now, you're a big fan of NMN, and before I read your book, I had never even heard of NMN. Why is that good?
Well, now we're talking about research from my lab in the early 2000s. We found that the sirtuin longevity genes that my team, and well, I should say my mentor's team, Lenny Guarenti, discovered sirtuins. So let me tell you about sirtuins. These are 7 genes in our body. Some of us have better versions than others. And in general, it's found that they protect the body against diseases ranging from Alzheimer's to diabetes. Now, these genes get switched off over time. Their main role is to make enzymes that tell the body how to survive during adversity. So when you're exercising and dieting and in sauna, they come on, protect the body. But the problem is, as we get older, they become less active. And one of the biggest problems is that for their activity, they require a little molecule in the body, a very abundant one called NAD. NAD is required for life. It's involved in chemical reactions, but it's also used as a sensor for the body of adversity. When we have no adversity, we're eating a lot and sitting around, NAD levels go down. That's true as we get older as well. So a 50-year-old has half the levels of a 20-year-old for NAD. What we like to do is to boost the levels of NAD back up to youthful levels and mimic exercise, mimic dieting, or even enhance those modalities. Now, we've even got human clinical trial data. I was mentioning one of my companies has done clinical trials already for the last few years. And by raising NAD levels, we can actually improve human health. And we hope that this will be a drug one day to treat diseases ranging from kidney failure to even COVID-19 survival. So what about NMN? Well, NMN is a precursor that the body uses to make NAD. And by ingesting NMN, we've shown in humans that you can raise your NAD levels by about 2 to 3-fold. And that's beneficial in humans based on clinical studies. When I say I'm a fan, I'm not selling this stuff. A lot of companies claim that I'm involved with selling it. That's not true. I spend a fair amount of legal fees on trying to stop that. But yeah, NAD boosters, as they're called, seem to be really beneficial. I take NMN, and I've been doing so for probably about 8 to 10 years. And so far, so good. I've only seen benefits. Some people ask about...
And so basically, you're saying the goal is to increase your NAD. One way to do that is through exercise. You can do that by fasting, sauna. But there's this other way to do is to take this NMN. Essentially, it's a supplement, and that can also boost your NAD.
Yes, that's what the science is saying, and others have shown it improves 6-minute walk. So it's being used for performance, endurance, and overall health. It's not proven that it extends lifespan. In fact, we've only just recently found it extends a mouse's lifespan and haven't published that yet. So it's early days. We still have a lot to go on, or to do at least.
Are
But
there side effects for taking it, or or does doing one thing make it harder to do something else? Or
doesn't seem to be. I mean, in mice, there's a couple of studies in some rare cases of genetically inbred mice that don't have an immune system, there's hints that cancer might spread slightly more frequently in a very small study. But these are mice that are inbred and have no immune system. So it's still full steam ahead with human clinical trials. There's been no adverse events in any of the patients that have been tested, or the subjects, I should call them. And yeah, so I'm not yet ready to say that there's any known, or at least tangible, provable risks that I want to be the first person to know if there's a risk, because my father takes it, my friends and family take it, I take it. So I'm not selling it. I just want to know the science. But I do know that my father is too old to wait till 100% proof that this extends lifespan. You and I are getting to that point where we can't wait. And so that's really what I'm doing, is I'm educating the public about the risks and rewards. There are a couple of mouse studies that I want to point out, but all weighed up, I think that the risk right now for me and my family it's worth taking that risk until further notice.
Did you know that quality sleep is crucial for more than just feeling rested? It's essential for overall cellular repair and can significantly support the process of autophagy.
Let's talk about the impact on sleep. What do we know about sleep and fasting, specifically time-restricted eating?
Well, it seems to be that the time-restricted eating helps to improve sleep quality in terms of the amount of sleep, the depth of sleep, and all the sleep cycles. So it's one of those sort of interesting findings that it actually helps which is important, because when you sleep and you sleep well, it's when your body's in the repair shop. It's when growth hormone increases, which repairs tissues. It's when cortisol goes down. It's when blood sugar goes down. It's when all these systems kind of kick into gear that help the body reset and repair. So the better and the deeper your sleep, the more you'll heal. And it seems to be part of this idea of this adaptation to scarcity, is that when we're in this fasted state, our bodies just repair better and heal better and sleep better, because sleep is part of the healing process.
We hope you found this information valuable and inspiring for your own path to health and longevity. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with friends, and subscribe to our channel for more insights on living your best life. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.